The heart of the e-bike is the battery. These things are great devices for storing a lot of energy in a small space. If looked after properly, these things can last a long time, but you need to take care of them on and off your bike. Today's video, we're going to be looking at all those tips and avoiding that expensive replacement. So first things first, there can be a lot of time that passes from when this battery was activated or made in the factory to the time it reaches the manufacturers, and even more time by the time it reaches you. So first things first, get that battery on charge as soon as you receive it. So lots of different manufacturers mount that battery lots of different ways. However it's mounted in your frame, just make sure that connection and the way it holds in there is secure. If that battery falls out, hits the ground and cracks, it's game over and you've got to replace that expensive battery. Lithium batteries are generally best kept fully charged even after a short little ride. If you do regularly flatten that battery, it's really going to struggle to hold a full charge, so keep them topped up. A good little tip as well is don't leave that charger plugged in for hours and hours or days and days away in your workshop or wherever you keep your bike. As soon as that battery's topped up, remove that charger. If there happens to be a charger malfunction, this battery could actually overheat. A real nice way of doing that is by actually putting a timer, one of the ones that you plug into the wall. Just put 4 or 5 hours on there. That should be enough to charge any battery. As soon as that obviously overruns and times out, you can have no power going to that. So if you're using that battery in the winter or below freezing, it's really advisable to bring that battery inside and actually charge it up at room temperature. Some batteries won't actually even charge as below freezing, so just check that it's not trying to charge it when it's just too cold. Also out on those rides, you might find that a battery sleeve or a thermal cover will actually increase and hold that battery's core temperature, and it should, in theory, give you a bit more range too. For the best overall health and lifespan of that battery, it's not a good idea to go sticking that battery on charge as soon as you get back from your ride. It's advisable just to let that battery have a rest period. It's letting that battery and the chemistry go from a state of discharge to a state of charge. Just give it around half an hour to get back in the run of things, then stick it back on charge. So there's a little danger from a wet battery. Actually, the battery is one of the most waterproof parts on your e-bike. It's actually got an IP67 rating that means it can be fully submerged, apparently without any damage, something that I wouldn't go testing out down your local lake, but they are fairly waterproof. Just keep an eye on those contact points. If they do become corroded or any rust and things get in them, just give them a quick wipe round, keep them nice and dry, get rid of that oxidization or rust, anything like that, because that can cause problems when it comes to connecting that connector to the frame as well. Just keep an eye on that. Best bet is just to wipe them down with a nice damp cloth, not getting them too wet. So let's talk about transporting that battery safely when it comes to your e-bike. A lot of manufacturers recommend to remove that battery before traveling. It's more if you get involved in an accident or your battery isn't secured properly and it goes bouncing off and hitting someone out on the road. And what I like to do is basically wrap this battery in a towel, stick it underneath my passenger seat. That way I know it's not going to get rattling around in the back of the van, fall off or smash into some seats when I brake. Also remember not to stick that thing up on the passenger shelf or on your back seat. If this battery hits you in the back of the head when you brake heavy, you're certainly going to know about it. You might have noticed a few little screws, nuts and bolts holding these batteries together, but whatever you do, don't even think about trying to open these up. Extremely dangerous, highly flammable. Lithium powder is one of the most flammable things known to man. So if you do suspect a battery problem, take it back to your dealer and get it sorted in the proper way. So let's talk about damaged batteries on your e-bike. If you've crashed or hit that battery hard, some of the cells inside can become damaged, and that cell can pass it on to the next cell, and all the way up that battery. Could end up being affected and heating up to extreme temperatures. So if you're suspicious about that battery in any way, get it back to your dealer ASAP. A lithium battery is always best stored in a nice cool conditions. Batteries are quite like us, they don't like extreme temperatures. Things between -10 and above 60 degrees Celsius should be avoided. So just try and keep that battery somewhere nice and cool, nothing too extreme. If you know you're not going to be using that battery or e-bike for a long time, it's really worth thinking about how you're storing that battery. A good way of storing it is keep about 80% charge in that battery. It varies from different manufacturers, but about 60 to 80% is really good charge to keep that battery up. Ideally, if you can keep it somewhere nice and cool like we talked about earlier, and keep topping it up every few weeks as well. Just drain a little trickle in there as well. It's going to help keep that capacity levels in that battery topped up. Okay, so just to conclude, the main points from today are keeping that battery between 60 to 80% topped up if you're not going to be using that battery for a long time. If you are, just keep topping it up all the time as well. Don't put it in extreme temperature conditions. Basically, if you take care of that battery, it's going to look after you too. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's video about batteries. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to check out how motors work with Steve up here. Also, if you're wondering how far you can get from one of these things, check out the ride where I did 100 kilometers on one battery down here as well. Don't forget to subscribe to EMBM. We've got loads of cool content on here. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video. If I've missed anything out about battery care, put it in the comments below. We'd love to see your comments too. We'll see you in the next one.